Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Hi, podcast friends. Love you so much. So glad to be back. You guys, we're still talking about emotions. I know what you're thinking. Maybe you're thinking, Dr. Edie, is this not the 10th podcast on this subject? My question for you is, have you been implementing so that your emotional life is better, so that you feel more resilient and stronger? I think we need it to be this long. Okay, or at least I do. Today, I think we're on the next to last episode, you guys. This is episode 192, Unlocking an Emotional Freedom, Processing Emotions. So we're going to talk about processing emotions today because, listen, I did not grow up knowing how to do this. And this all sounded so crazy and woo-woo to me until I started to reach midlife and have my own version of a crisis because I had suppressed all my emotions for 40 years. Anyone else out there want to confess to that? And so I am learning all about processing emotions. I've had everything that I'm going to mention today that might help you process your emotions and learn more about this. I think I've tried. So I'm still learning, but emotions really are the language of our bodies. And if you don't, it's kind of, we've talked about this before, it's kind of like processing food in a way. If you don't digest it and process it, it will keep coming up. You'll start reacting to your life instead of responding to your life and being present with your life. And one of the things that I think is very interesting is that often those patterns, if you don't heal this and if you don't work on this, your body will keep looking for a way to recreate those emotions that are familiar to you. And you will do that in all sorts of sabotaging ways. So if you're like me and you grew up in a lot of fight or flight, if you don't learn to recognize this, name it, all the steps that we've talked about so far, and then today process it, what will happen is your body thinks that's just its normal state and it will recreate that all the time. And I just wanted to break the addiction that I had to stress. I'm still working on it. The addiction that I have had to fight or flight, really by no fault of my own. My body did the best it could and kept me safe. But I really became so addicted to these stress hormones because I didn't know how to do this. So, and what happened to me is I realized like, oh, I have betrayed myself in order to honor this addiction that I have to stress. I haven't been good to myself. I haven't been present for myself. And so if you realize that you've betrayed yourself for an addiction to an emotion that you don't even love or an emotional life that drives you crazy, then this work is worth doing. And that emotional cocktail is something that you can learn to manage and have control over and direct. What I love so much, which is what we're going to talk about in the very last episode, what I love so much is then you can learn how to create emotions that you want, create the emotional life you want, and then everything starts to get crazy and change in a way that you never imagined that it could. So I want to quote Frederick Buechner before we start. He's one of my favorite writers. And his quote, I can't remember which book this is, but his quote is, "Listen to your life. See it for the fathomless mystery it is, in the boredom and pain of it, no less than in the excitement and gladness. Touch, taste, smell your way to the holy and hidden heart of it, because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments and life itself is grace." And we've talked about this in previous episodes, but there really are no bad emotions. There's only the emotion that you're experiencing that you need to work through and process and allow so that you can keep moving on in order to create the emotions you actually want to create. So this, I think, will really help you if you have been stuck in emotions that you feel like, I don't even ask for this. I just wake up and feel frustrated. I just wake up and feel like I'm in fight or flight. I just wake up and feel anxious. I just wake up and feel mad. Whatever it is, I promise you, you have more control than you think, but you do have to allow, accept, and process what's there. So let's talk about the processing part. Because emotions are the language of the body, you need to process them with the body. So think of my first tip for this is some kind of movement, some kind of exercise, some kind of dance, some kind of running. I feel like I do this when I go to CrossFit, you guys. Recently, I picked up pickleball. What a great way to do it. By the way, if you could see me right now, I don't think I'm going to stand. But if you could see me right now, I have colorful business casual on the top with the most amazing earrings you've ever seen in your life. And I have pickleball on the bottom. So I have on I just bought a new pickleball skirt, by the way. Right now I have on my pickleball shorts, hoping to get in a little pickleball today. But that's what I'm currently wearing. So find a hobby, find some way that you can physically work this out. Allow those emotions to move through your body. So some kind of movement. I love walking for this. Sometimes I will take a walk and I literally will say to myself, I'm going to process emotions on this walk. And I'll start kind of thinking about what I want to process. I'll notice it where it is in my body. I will, just allow the emotion to be there. I'll be present with the emotion, naming it, allowing it to be there, reminding myself that it's okay to feel whatever emotion I feel. And the sooner I process through it, especially if it's an emotion that I don't love feeling, the sooner I accept it and allow it and process through it, the quicker it leaves. So movement is huge. Creative expression is huge. So think about journaling, songwriting. You guys, did I ever tell you? Let me confess something. I used to write poetry. I started writing poetry when I was in middle school. God bless the people that I gave my poems to, my middle school teachers, most of all. And I really do think, I didn't know it at the time, but that was a way that I was processing my difficult childhood. That might have been like the first attempt that I had at like processing my pain was through poetry. When my book came out, by the way, so I wrote a memoir called All the Pretty Things. And when All the Pretty Things came out, one of my teachers who I had written a poem for said, "Oh my gosh, I should post this because you gave me this when you were in like ninth grade." And I'm like, please don't post it. I'm sure it's terrible. But I was pretty good at creative expression. I did a lot of journaling and apparently a lot of writing of poetry when I was younger. So however you can do that creatively for yourself, maybe it's painting, maybe it's some other kind of art form, some kind of expression that just allows you to process through what's going on inside of you. It's like honoring who you are. It's like honoring where you are right now, honoring yourself, acknowledging yourself, showing up for yourself. The next way is music. This could go with creative expression, I guess, but I also just love, is there anything that can take you to that emotional place quicker than music? I'm sitting here today on like day 3, I think, of Taylor Swift's new album coming out. I know we've got the haters, but I do love Taylor Swift and I do love her new single with Post Malone. We know I've been obsessed with Post Malone lately because he's been covering country music. When his country album comes out, just get out of my way because I'm going to be downloading it so fast. So music, I love sometimes when I'm trying to process emotion, I will put music on that I know will bring up that emotion and will kind of allow me to work through it. I love to sing full voice in my car. So if you do live in my town, I'm so sorry if you ever see me belting things out. But I just love a good karaoke jam session to work through my emotions, y'all. Next number, breathing. Breathing, you guys. I started about 2 years ago doing the Wim Hof breathing app. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Like really breathing well and breathing deep is not for the faint of heart. And I noticed that because I had lived a lot of my life kind of in fight or flight, I always had been breathing shallow. And after I got COVID, I got diagnosed with a form of long COVID and my diaphragm was kind of stuck down. I just basically couldn't take good deep breaths. So I got some therapy for it. I got some manipulation for it, like osteopathic manipulation, and had to get like my diaphragm unstuck. And so I still love practicing deep breathing, and there's all different forms of doing it, but do some research on that and find some methods that work for you where you can do some good breathing methods to just help you be with yourself, process through emotion, work it all out. Next number is talking or therapy or coaching. Of course, I love all of these methods. I have an amazing coach that is so good at leading me through the processing of emotion and kind of helping me extract the wisdom that's there with that emotion and how that emotion is possibly protecting me, and just basically understanding that there's so much there for us with these emotions. If we can talk through it, if we can get some therapy, some coaching, or whatever. One of my very favorite methods for processing emotion. Next is some kind of, I said creative expression already, but this is like, I'm thinking of crying, screaming, punching. I remember one time being in a session with Tom in his therapy where he did a punching bag, and it was so good. It was so therapeutic for him. So fun to watch, actually, just get all that frustration out. We actually ended up buying him a punching bag for his room after that, and he used it until it was one of those that was like kind of a blow up thing, and he used it until he tore it all up. It was great. But some kind of outlet. I think so often, especially with kids, we can't handle their expression of emotion, so we think they shouldn't have it. And I have gotten to the point where I just want them to get it out, get all that out. We don't need to be carrying that around. So let's just be honest when we have these big, heavy emotions that we need to get out. I think sometimes redirection and distraction can be helpful. We want to be careful with these that they don't take us out of being with the emotion, but especially with kids, sometimes just a redirection is really helpful. I do this all the time with my little grands when they're, having a moment about something they don't like. They're just so easily redirected. And so this can be a great way for, especially for kids, but even for us adults, redirection or distraction can be helpful. A word of caution here. I may have mentioned this in a previous podcast, but as a medical doctor, I know that so many substances that we use both legally and illegally suppress emotions. Be careful here. So prevalent has been when I was helping people get off medications or helping people get off substances. So many emotions come bubbling up. And I don't think we realize how often what we're doing is suppressing our emotions, and it's not good. It's not good for us. We need to be able to acknowledge them, express them, get them out. So I'd be really careful with that. Ask yourself, am I taking anything that could be suppressing emotion? You really want to rethink that. Not that you never need something that might help you suppress emotion for a time, but it's definitely not meant to be a lifestyle thing. The second thing, so those are all the ways to process emotion. I just want to say a word about just taking care of your physical body in general for your emotional health. Sleep, prayer, meditation, such powerful ways to change your emotional state and kind of take care of your physical body. Of course, nutrition, getting your workouts in, fitness, breath work, all of these things. I would say meditation has been a powerful way for me. I love listening to guided meditations. That's been a powerful way for me to sort of acknowledge myself, stay with myself, reframe myself, and change my emotional state. I think studies have shown that prayer and meditation are the two ways that you can really have a significant impact in changing your emotional state. If you're somebody who, like me, who has lived in fight or flight for a long time and you're wanting to change that, those are ways that you can do that. But really taking good care of your physical self. And basically what we do when we avoid emotions, going way back to the first episode we did in this series, when we avoid emotions, we're avoiding ourselves. When we allow and process emotions, we are being present with ourselves. We are supporting ourselves. We are not abandoning ourselves. And this is such a powerful message to send to yourself. Like, I'm here for you. I'm here for you that's anxious. I'm here for the version of you that's so frustrated right now, that's angry right now. Of course, you're angry, and then allowing that all to come out. And as you do that, you open your life up so big. You open your life up to such a rich, deep experience of life. The more emotion you allow yourself to feel, the more life you feel. Emotions remind us that we're alive, you guys. And when your heart, that emotional life, starts informing your brain, like, hey, we're safe again, you're okay. This is such a powerful way to reset your life. You can fall in love with your life again. Creative thoughts will start to emerge. You will start to dream again about your future. You will start to feel hopeful again. You will start to gain so much mental and emotional resilience when you do this. So I am cheering for you. If this is something you've been working toward, I want you to take all of these ways and practice processing in the next week and just see where you get. And then next week, we will finish the series up by really diving into we're going to talk about emotions that bring growth and how you use those emotions to design your life on purpose. So I can't wait to see you next week. I love you so much. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.